Hiya, next little video using your pierced plastic milk bottle panels. We're going to make some seaweed. I've made a few samples here. I think that was a little penknife. It's got little long dashes. And I guess these were knitting needles or little screwdrivers. So different shapes. And I think these ones were shoe polish. And those are paint. I'll show you how to paint them later. So those are quite broad leaves, but you can do quite thin leaves. So to get inspiration or ideas, do a little web search. You want to type in seaweed types or seaweed identification, and you should come up, if you press images, you should find some pictures of different types of seaweed, and then you can get an idea about leaves. I'm going to start with a simple one first, and it's just these lined ones here. So I got my little panels and I just pierced with lines. This one is a little screwdriver, so it's long and narrow, and I just did lines. You could put a pen if you need a straightish line. And this one is just a knitting needle, a nice thick knitting needle. So I've got some lines. So this one here, I've cut in between the rows so that you see the holes on the leaves. So let's take that one. When you're piercing, try and leave a little border at the bottom, because we'll stand that in a salt dough stand in your diorama. So we're just going to go around the outside. And then in between the rows. Very simple. Nice sharp scissors. There we go. Now, to give it a little bit more movement, I'm just going to zigzag the base a bit. There we go. It almost stands up on its own. And this one, we've got rows of circular holes. I'm not sure which is going to be the base. I think we've already got a border at the bottom, so that can be the bottom. And I'm going to cut through the lines on this one. I can hear them popping as I do it, and then I curve round, try and go through the holes, and that's going to give us a little bit of texture on the outside of each blade of seaweed. Oh, it makes a very satisfying popping noise. There we go, pop, pop, pop. And the last one, that's quite a narrow piece, that one. There we go, you can. So you could make the salt dough to fit your seaweed. There we go, got lots of movement. If you wanted, you could shape the ends. So what we've got a narrower one, and those are closer together, so they're very thin. I've shaped them a bit just by running them over my finger. It will keep its shape. So there we go, thin and narrow. Let's put them to one side, and we'll just look at some thicker leaved ones. So on these, I got panels and I just covered it all randomly. Again, it was with this. I did the holes going in the same direction, rather than twisting the screwdriver around, so they all go in the same direction. That gives it a uniformity. And then I've just done a wiggly line around the outside. I don't think it needs anything more. Left the border. That will go into a piece of salt dough. So with this one, it was similar. I cut round the outside, and then I just picked a line of dots and cut them out, so that we got two. I think that works really well. What have we got here? This looks a bit like flames, isn't it? So again, little rows, much smaller holes than this big knitting needle. Maybe this was a smaller one. And I've just cut into the gaps between the rows, and where it gets very close together, that's when I've stopped. So again, quite sharp edges this one. These are all very curvy, so to contrast, having a pointy bit works well. So we'll get a bit of paint on those, maybe have an experiment with different paint effects. Although I don't think they need that much. I think the texture alone gives it a good effect. Right, one last thing. These are quite solid seaweeds. How about some floaty seaweed? We want to get different types. So this is just bubble wrap. I think this came from a supermarket. A lot of the fruit boxes have sheets of this. I'm not sure what the supermarket does with them, but I usually pop one bit in my shopping trolley or wrap the frozen goods. So this one's rather nice. I think if we got several strands, excuse me, and we painted it, I think that would work really well. So there we have it. Different types of seaweed: solid seaweed, spiky seaweed, floaty seaweed. Have a go, collect them, keep them in your box, and next time we'll paint them and I will show you how to do paper seaweed. Okay, that's it for now, guys. Bye.